Good morning. We are plenty loud this morning, that's for sure. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 57th annual Comal County's Livestock Lamb Show. We appreciate y'all being here. We appreciate the time you've taken away from your busy schedule to get here to watch these youth perform and bring their animals out here to perform for you. This will be on YouTube. That's what this gentleman back here is doing. So anybody that's home that you know is at home that wants to see this show, tell them to get on YouTube, go to Comal County Junior Livestock Show. They'll send a link. It'll put them on where they can watch this live. So if you will all please remove your cover, this beautiful young lady is going to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
If you would please bow your head. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day that you have bestowed upon us to enjoy the youth and these animals and what they're going to do. Thank y'all for the parents, the kids, the ag teachers, everybody who has made this possible for them to be able to come and do this. Let us also remember those who have went before us, who have originally started this program and why we do it. In your name we pray. Amen. I'd also like to tell you that we lost somebody this year who meant a lot to this organization. Miss Karen Price, she spent a lot of time up there on that auction block, or that block up there, getting kids in here, and she's made a big difference to this organization. So everybody, would you please keep them and their family in your prayers? Because she was here for a long time and she did a lot of things for us. So we appreciate y'all being here. We will move forward with the Lamb Show. Thank y'all for coming.
Good morning, and while they're bringing in our first class of Southdowns, I'd like to welcome Adam Lira, Sam Houston State graduate. He taught ag for 13 years before becoming the CTE director for Splendora ISD for the past 12 years. He has two children, ages 14 and 10, who enjoy showing lambs and goats. Thank you, Adam, for coming out to Comal County and judging for us.
Hello. Good morning. What a beautiful day we got here in my world. We've had rain and more rain and cold and more rain and then more rain. So to drive the last 3.5 hours, we had a little fog, but to get here and see this beautiful day and these kids exhibiting their livestock in a great part of Texas. We like to come here to vacation, so to come here and judge your county fair, it's an honor and always a privilege to get invited. In our first class of South Downs, they kind of mean a lot to me. My family shows a lot of downs. We raised a lot of downs. And so to start the show with these guys, it's always a good day for me. Our young lady sheep that starts the class off, it's probably the most complete for me. When you analyze him from the ground up, a sheep that's tall and elevated out of his front end, definitely the most expressive down its top. Handles good down that top, but firm. If I was to correct him, I'd make him a little bigger in his pin set, give him a little more lower third of leg, and definitely give him a little more structure on him. He ain't got as much wool as some of the others, but he still needs to be a little bigger footed for me. Our young ladies here in second, when this sheep gets driven, you got to like him from the side. He's one that has some muscle to him, but one that you get your hands on him, he disappoints you a little bit. He gets a little softer to the touch, carry a little bit of flesh to be in a lightweight down class, but a sheep that you have to appreciate for the muscle that he brings through his hip and that lower leg. I just like to get him firmed up a little bit to move around our one that wins the class. Our young ladies here in third is another one that's extremely elevated up through his chest. He's shallow, he's neat in his blades, but a sheep that just doesn't have that width of body down his top, one that's not as big and bold out of his hip and down in that lower leg to move around the two above him. I think a real attractive sheep from the side. And then we round out the class here with our fourth sheep, one that's given up some size and some muscularity. When you get down the top, he's not quite as neat and as bold in his rack shape. He's a little rounder in that loin edge and a little plainer through his hip. The one that we need to shallow up through his chest floor, give him a little neater design to compete with the three above him. But let's give all four of these exhibitors a big round of applause.
First place blue, Livy Krippendorf from Comal 4-H. Second place blue, Bristol Arnold from Comal 4-H. Third place red, Talem Salas from Davenport FFA. And fourth place white, Brianna Allen from Davenport FFA.
I think when we bring our middleweight down, the easy class winner for me, the young ladies down here. The darts class is definitely the most expressive on his back, one that handles extremely well, one that's totally at the point of the shoulders when she gets him drove, one that's neat in his blades. If I was to change him, I'd blow him out and then hook the pin just a little bit, make him a little blunter hip. I think a nice down to start the class. Our young ladies down here in second, one that's it's got some extension up through that front end, one that you start to analyze, it gets a little plainer through his chest floor, a little flatter and deeper in that rib, one that's not quite as good in his hip loin juncture. I'd like to flatten him out, let him out that hip. I think a nice second place here for this class. Our young ladies here in third, here's one that's extremely long from flank to flank, one that just isn't quite as expressive for me when you get over the top. Doesn't have that expression down his rack. Gets a little rounder out through his loin and out of his hip as we compare him to the two above him. But I think a nice trio, as well as the fourth and fifth as we analyze them. Let's give these guys a round of applause.
Results for Class 2 Southdowns. First place blue, Halen Bertolacci, New Braunfels FFA. Second place red, Maggie Zedeker, Smithson Valley FFA. Third place red, Comal 4-H. Fourth place white, Cameron McCoy, Davenport FFA. Fifth place white, Lauren Davis, Smithson Valley FFA.
When we bring your heavyweight down to here, the young lady chief that starts the class is definitely the one that handles the best of the class, one that has the expression that is tough, one that's flank to flank, one that has a change by man with balance, him up a little more, get him a little taller at the point of the shoulders, kind of make him look a little more neater from the side, but because he's so low, I think this sheep has muscles. He does extremely well. Young lady does extremely good job getting him presented. You question, is he big enough in his hip? And I think if we take off a joint of his tail, he's got some width in his pin. One that you like that about him. One that you'd like to see just a tick more lower leg. This one just out handles everything when we get him in this class when you get your hands on him. Young man's weather here in second
Here's one that's tall at the point of the shoulders, but one that just gets a little plainer in his muscle shape when we look down his top, not quite as firm to the touch. One that's getting a little more mature look through that forearm, one that's carrying a little bit of cover as we compare him to our first place lamb. I think a nice, easy second for me here today. Our young ladies' wether here in third. Here's a wether that has some muscle dimension to him, one that just doesn't quite as handle as firm as the two above him, one that you start to look at him, his skin gets a little rough on him. I like to give him a little more show appeal, one to get him a little shallower up through that chest to move up. I think a nice trio here. Let's give these guys a big round of applause.
Results for Class 3. First place blue, Paige Bedgood, Canyon FFA. Second place blue, Brody Arnold, New Braunfels FFA. Third place red, Madison Beatty, Comal 4-H. Fourth place white, Lauren McCoy, Davenport FFA. Fifth place white, Emily Benavides, Canyon FFA. We'll now select our breed champion in reserve.
Now, for something for the first time. You're in Knoxville, and shoot, our two sons behind on. I think there's a good, nice set, got some similarities about on the dome, we had a few head of Southdown just in the show. You can see we want to show the air about the clarity, we want some touch to it, some structure, we want the blades laid up correctly with some flip side to them. I think we've run that out here just out excels all the others, and while it's got that dimension, it shows that your handle and shoulder right. You're out and you're the lower there, it's a really attractive shoot up the muscularity, our class 3 is ready.
I think when you come and look for your reserve champion down, it gets a little closer placing. But I think once you analyze this champion, there's one that follows up with him extremely well. One that still can carries that dimension of muscle down their top and handles extremely well. Our young ladies heavyweight's going to be reserved down. Let's give her a round of applause.
Champion Taylor Berlocki, and reserve and Thank you.
What a And I think that's where he sets himself apart from the others is when you get your hands on him. He's a little more expressive down his top. He's got some expression in that lower leg, one that you like that about him. If I was to change, I'd like to move his neck set back in him a little bit, give him a little more flank in him, but that's being critical of a fine wool here. They all like to stay kind of bellied up on us, but a nice sheep to start the class. Our young man's Weather here in second, one that you like for the hip and the lower leg that he brings to you. But a sheep that you start to analyze him, he gets a little deeper and plainer through that chest. One that's another one that I like to move his neck set up, backing him a little bit, give him a little more firmer to the touch, and correct him that hip loin juncture as we compare him to our first place lamb. I think a nice one to come here in second. We get to our young ladies here in third. Here's another one that is attractive from the side, one that just don't have that dimension of muscle when you get over the top of him, a little rounder in his blades, one that's not quite as correct in his neck set as well as the two above him, but one that you like just for the look that he brings to the ring. We just got to give him a little more center dimension of body and muscle throughout to compete. Let's give these individuals a big round of applause.
Results for Class 1 Fine Wool. First place blue, Emily Beatty, Comal 4-H. Second place blue, Preston Phillips, Canyon FFA. Third place red, Addison Wiley, Canyon FFA. Fourth place white, Nathan Sierra, Canyon Lake FFA. We'll bring in Class 2 of the Fine Wools.
when we bring this class fine wools out here, the young ladies sheep that starts the class is again one that kind of dominates the class when you look at it from the attractiveness that he brings to the ring. He handles extremely well. Uh-oh. One that you get off of him, he comes at you with some base width and goes away with some base width. One that you would like to make him a little more expressive down his top, but one that you sure appreciate just the touch and the handle correct in his hip loin juncture. Just a nice sheep to start our class. Our young man sheep running around, don't feel bad. My son's first major stock show, he let it go and he won the downs at Dallas. So it happens. Young man's down that came here in second. It gets a little closer in placing between the pair. But a sheep, then you start to analyze him pound for pound. I get that he's the smaller and smallest one in this trio. But when you get your hands on him, he has some width about him. He's good out of his hook to pins. One that carries probably the most lower leg as we analyze him to the one above in the top trio here. But a sheep that you start to analyze him, he gets a little shorter from flank to flank. Young man needs to get him kind of stretched out a little more. He gave me a real good look over here, and that's when I decided, you'd be a good second. But a sheep that's just pretty complete about what he is. One, again, has some foot and bone to him. Just got to get him a little more extended, a little more stretch, and probably a little firmer to me. He's wanting to act up for you a little bit. Young ladies, Weather here in third. Here's one, again, it's real attractive from the side, one that's tall at the point of the shoulders, one that's shallow up through his chest, but one that just doesn't have quite that muscularity when we get over the top of him, not quite as massive and as wide through his hip loin juncture, and how's that hip as we compare him to the two above him. I think an extremely attractive sheep to stand third. Let's give all these exhibitors a big round of applause.
Results for Class 2 Fine Wool. First place blue, Riley Wunderlich, Comal 4H. Second place blue, Nathan Sierra, Canyon Lake, FFA. Third place red, Paige Bedgood, Canyon FFA. Fourth place red, James Beatty, Comal 4H. Fifth place white, Reagan Hudnall, Canyon FFA.
When we get to your heavyweight finals here, the young ladies final here that starts the class out handles everything here. She's got it correctly finished. One that's tall at the shoulders, one that we would like to see a little more expression, a rack shape down his top and pick his tail head up in him a little bit. I think for this class, he's acceptable for me today. Good job getting fit, young lady. Our young ladies here in second. Here's one that is tall at the point of the shoulders, but just starting to get a little more mature when you look up through his full rib and his chest. One that gets a little plainer down his top in him, not quite as expressive when you get out of that hip and lower leg. I like just firm him up, give him a little more athletic look about him, tighten his chest in him a little bit, and we could do some different things. Our young man's lamb here in third. Here's one that's extremely attractive when you get him from the side. One that just gets a little outpowered when we talk about muscularity and width of body down his top. One that's not quite as correct in his neck set. And he gets a little tighter in his spine when you get him in motion. He wants to stay balled up a little bit for us today. I think a nice trio of sheep. Let's give all these exhibitors a round of applause.
Results for Class 3 Fine Wool. First place blue, Hannah Haker, New Braunfels FFA. Second place red, Madison Beatty, Comal 4-H. Third place red, Zachary Sierra, Canyon Lake, FFA. Fourth place white, Hannah Ortiz, Canyon, FFA. Fifth place white, Paxton Cochran, New Braunfels, FFA.
We bring your fine wheels out for the fine wheel drive. I think it's a nice set here. Again, another small show of fine wheels. I think you got quality from top to bottom. There's one sheep out here that kind of fits me a little better today. One that's extremely tall at the point of the shoulders, got some handle to them, good and fresh through that loin and out of that hip. That'll be our middleweight. She's going to be our champion. Let's give it a big round of applause. I think when we come out here for your reserve champion, it gets a little closer placing for me from our second place middleweight and our lightweight winner here. There's some differences in these two sheep, but I think one that just kind of fits me a little better, a little more complete for me today. One that has a little more dimension down their top, definitely a little bigger and leveler out of the hip and lower leg. And one that you start to analyze has a little more base width about him. Our second place middleweight is going to be our reserve. Let's give this young man a round of applause.
Congratulations, breed champion winner Riley Wunderlich and reserve breed champion Nathan Sierra. Congratulations, guys. Lamb exhibitors, make sure you are getting your pictures taken. Easier after you go out of the ring to get your pictures taken. And then as we move through the show to declare what you're doing with your animal, make sure you're getting your pictures taken. We'll pull together our class 1 fine wool crosses.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, though.
what a good group of lightweight crosses to start your class here. This trio on top is definitely the deepest class we've had so far today in the other two breeds. A sheep that starts a class, you can see from the side, this ewe has some dimension of muscle down her top, extremely expressive in her rack shape, good through her loin, massive out of her hip and lower leg. One that you start to look at, she's long, she's elegant. I like to see her move a little freer when we get her in motion, but a sheep that's cracked open from the ground, got some bone, some circumference to her. I'd like to drop her flank just a little bit if we bring her back, but I think a nice sheep to win this class. It gets a little closer placing in these next pair of wethers. The young lady's wether that comes here in second is one that just comes at you with a little more base width as we compare him to the one in third. One that's good down his top, good out of his hip and lower leg. Just a good, complete sheep to come here in second. Just doesn't have quite the bells and whistles as we look to the ewe lamb that beats him in class, but I think a real solid wether here to come in second. We look to our wether here in third. Here's one that patterns our second extremely well, but one just gets a little plainer in that lower forerib as we analyze him to the second and the first. One that's carrying a little bit of condition, not quite as expressive in his top shape as we compare him to the pair above him. I think a good trio there. Let's give all the exhibitors a big round of applause.
Results for Class 1 Fine Wool Cross. First place blue, Shelby Leonard, Smithson Valley, FFA. Second place blue, Riley Wunderlich, Comal 4-H. Third place blue, Luke Betzworth, Canyon FFA. Fourth place red, Brody Arnold, New Braunfels FFA. Fifth white, Bailey Ellis, Long Creek FFA. Sixth white, Dakota West, Davenport FFA.
When we bring your middleweights in here, this young lady sheep, he won the class of the first 3 steps in the ring when you could see all of him. This sheep wins pretty handily. Here's a sheep that you look at. He's extended up through his chest floor. He's shallow. You look at his rack sheep. He's extremely massive when you get over the top of him. One that blows in his big centered body, big level hip, and massive in that lower leg. Just an extremely nice one to start the class. Our young man's here in second. Here's one that you like him from the side. He's tall at the point of the shoulders. He's one that has some muscularity about him. One that's not quite as attractive in his skin. I'd like to make his skin a little neater for me, but one that you like the center body that he has. He just don't have quite the bells and whistles as we look at the one that beats him in class. Not quite as massive out of that hip and lower leg as we analyze him to the first place lamb. I think a nice one to come here in second. Our young ladies here in third, one that I liked when he came in the ring, but the more you start to analyze him, he's not quite as balanced when you get him on the side. He gets a little straighter in his hocks and not quite as massive in that lower leg as we compare him to the two, but one that you appreciate the rack shape that he has, the dimension of body, his center body. He's got some rib shape to him. I just got to get him a little flexible, more flexible off them back legs, give him a little more lower leg to compete. But I think an excellent set of sheep and exhibitors. Let's give him a round of applause.
First place blue, Shelby Leonard, Smithson Valley FFA. Second place blue, Luke Betzworth, Canyon FFA. Third place red, Brooke Betzworth, Canyon FFA. Fourth place red, Brooke Betzworth, Canyon FFA. Sixth white, Reagan Hudnall, Canyon FFA. Sorry, I missed fifth. Fifth place red, Zachary Sierra, Canyon Lake FFA. Then sixth place, Reagan Hudnall, Canyon FFA. Sixth white. Seventh white, Emily Beatty, Comal 4-H.
when we bring our heavyweights in here, it's a little closer placing than the last class as we start to analyze what's for first. But the young lady's whether that starts the class, one that once she gets him set, you sure appreciate what he has. A sheep that's broke open from down low, one that carries itself. When you get over the top of him, he's massive down his top and good out of that hip loin juncture and definitely good out of that rear leg. Where he bothers me is when we get him in motion, he wants to open up in his blades a tick, doesn't hold together quite as well as we'd like to see him. I think a sheep that you have to appreciate all the good about him to win this class. Our young lady's whether here in second, one that again, if you get him from the side, you got to love him. He's tall at the point of the shoulders. He handles extremely well, but one that gets a little out of balance for me. He's starting to show a little more maturity up through that chest, a little more depth and body than I'd like to see, and just isn't quite as long hind saddled as we analyzed him in our first place sheep. I think a nice one to come here in second. We get to our young ladies here in third. Here's one that's just extremely attractive from the side, long from flank to flank. He just gets out horsepowered when we get over the top of him. We compare him to the two above him. He has opened up in his blades and rack shape and center body. We'd like to drop his flank just to tick in him. We just need a little more power to compete with the first two. Let's give these exhibitors a big round of applause.
Results for Class 3 Fine Wool Cross. First place blue, Livy Krippendorf, Comal 4-8. Second place blue, Macy Wunderlich, Comal 4-8. Third place red, Jillian Abrego, Canyon Lake, FFA. Fourth place white, Emily Benavides, Canyon FFA. Fifth place white, Kennedy Modis, Canyon FFA. Sixth place white, James Beatty, Comal 4H. Seventh place white, Hannah Ortiz, Canyon FFA. Eighth place white, Camila Ruiz, New Braunfels FFA. Breed champion, drive for this in the ring now. Dorpers Class 1, start moving on up. Dorpers Class 1.
I think when we bring these six crosses out here, definitely a deep breed, extremely competitive from top to bottom. I think when you analyze these, we've got an excellent set here, and there's some good sheep sitting on the second place as compared to these first. But I think there's some out here that just fit me extremely well, and I think if you move on to go on and down the road, they can be extremely competitive and be compete with anything in our state in this breed. There's one out here that kind of fits me extremely well, one that's extremely massive in their top, cracked open from down low. When you put them in motion in the ring, they stay level, complete. They're extremely expressive and hard handling. Our young lady's weather out of the middleweights is going to be your champion. Let's give her a big round of applause. I think it's a easy reserve for me when you start to try to pattern them up, and it's extremely hard to pattern them up with a small show. But I think there's one here that you could call it its twin, and it wouldn't surprise me if they came to me and say, hey, you know what? They are twins. Our lightweight Ewe-Lamb's going to be our reserve. I think when you analyze her, she's similar, same pattern as our champion here, one that just doesn't have quite that flank drop in her as compared to our champion. I think in muscle shape, design, they're spitting images of each other. Let's give these individuals a big round of applause.
Congratulations, Shelby Leonard, on your breed champion and your reserve breed champion, Fine Wool Cross.
We start your lightweight Dorpers here. None of them really want to act too well for these exhibitors. And I always pick on my kids. And I tell them, I say, hey, if I bring you home a Dorper, it means I don't love you anymore. So I hope you find somebody who love you. Because if you find somebody who love you, because you did these things. But these kids did a good job. I think the weather that starts the class is kind of the combination sheep for me. One that has a little more extension up through his front end as we compare him to our second place lamb, and one that's definitely level out of that hip when you put him in motion. One that you still like to clean him up, shallow him up in his chest floor, and make him a little leaner over those ribs. I think a nice lightweight to start. Our young ladies here in second is a Dorper that's a more traditional style, one that's packed full of muscle from end to end, but one that gets a little rounder out of its hip, a little rounder in that lower leg, and really isn't giving us a good drive. If this sheep just go out and drive for and work a little better, we might can do some different things there. I think a nice pair to start the class. Our young ladies here in third is one that's definitely the biggest in his kind and design, one that's tall at the point of the shoulders, but one that just gets outpowered when you get over the top of him. When we analyze him to the pair above him, not quite as muscular and as dimensional down that top and out of that hip and lower leg to move up. I think a nice group. Let's give them a round of applause.
Results for Class 1 Dorpers. First place blue, Zachary Eichman, Canyon Lake, FFA. Second place blue, Miley Hallmark, Canyon Lake, FFA. Third place, white, Hannah Haker, New Braunfels, FFA. Fourth place, white, Hunter Eubank, Comal 4-H. Fifth place, white, Augustus Eubank, Comal 4-H. And sixth place, white, Augustus Eubank, Comal 4-H.
little better, but one that you get over the top of them, you get your hands on them, it gets a little too soft to the touch for me. Carry me a little more fat over those ribs than I'd like to see, and one that you can see out of his pole of his hip. We'd like to lean him up there. He's starting to get that maturity out of that hip as we compare him to the ones above him. Let's give all these exhibitors a round of applause.
Results for Class 2 Dorpers. First place blue, Adeline Liggett, Davenport FFA. Second place blue, Parker Pallotta, Comal 4-H. Third place red, Adeline Liggett, Davenport FFA. Fourth place white, Aiden Francis, Smithson Valley FFA. Fifth place white, Hunter Eubank, Comal 4-H.
I think when we bring the Dorpers back out here for the champion drive, it's a close pacing in a few of these. But I think there's one that fits me a little better, a little cleaner up through their chest, one that's definitely a little square out of their hip, stays true when you put them in motion, walks around, moves level. Our young man's lightweight's going to be our champion. Let's give him a big round of applause. I think when you start to analyze for your reserve, I think there's a couple. We got the second place light there, one that again gets a little more traditional, got some power, some muscle to it. Then we got our heavyweight here that's extremely expressive, hard to the touch. I think I'm gonna have to stick with the heavyweight and should be a reserve today. One that just got some touch to it, a little more leaner over those ribs, a little more fit for me today. Let's give a round of applause.
Congratulations, Zachary Eichman with your breed champion Dorper and Adeline Liggett with your reserve champion Dorpers. We'll go move on into our medium wool first class. Exhibitors, some quick reminders. Remember that you are getting your pictures.
When we bring your medium wools out here, your lightweight medium wools, there's a variety out here. Most of them either need to be a little trimmed up or they need a little more time on feed. The young lady's ewe lamb that starts the class is probably the most complete for me at this time, kind of a little more show ready for me. One that's got some extension up through that front end, one that's hard to the handle, one that's good out of his loin. He's adequate out of his hip, and I'd like to give him a little more lower leg, but I think for this class he's acceptable. Our young lady's ewe lamb here in second. Here's one that's got some muscularity to him, but one that gets a little more compact, a little more lower to the ground, one that isn't quite as extended up through that front end and expressive in that hip and lower leg as we compare him to the first one. We just got to make a little more attractive, give him a little more grow. Young ladies here in third. Here's another little wether that's a little more compact for me. He's carrying a little bit too much fat over those ribs. Need to get a little more grow out of that sheep, get him a little more extended up through that front end to move up in class. But I think a nice set of animals, a nice set of kids. Let's give them a round of applause.
Results for Class 1 medium wools. First place blue, Hayden Best from Comal 4-H. Second place red, Riley Rust, Smithson Valley, FFA. Third place white, Madeline Rodriguez, Smithson Valley, FFA. Fourth place white, Samuel Hallett, Comal 4-H. Fifth place white, Joseph Hallett, Comal 4-H. Sixth place white, Samuel Hallett, Comal 4-H. Seventh place white, Riley Rust, Smithson Valley, FFA. And eighth place white, Joseph Hallett, Comal 4-H.
Definitely, as we get to our class two medium wells here, the heat sure cranked up in these top three here. And somebody can come in here and do it a little different. And I'm going to talk why I did what I did. Young man's weather that starts the class is just kind of a combination sheep to me. Handles extremely firm when you get your hands on him. He's big footed, and I'm not just talking because he's got bushy legs, but you look down low, he's got some foot size to him. He's good and smooth and pretty and level out of from the side. One that goes into a big lower leg. You got to appreciate that about him. If I was to change him as compared to our second, I'd like to give him his neck a little longer, get him a little more extended, a little shallower through his chest as we compare him to our second. But that's being critical. A nice sheep to start the class. Our young ladies here in second, and just like I said, one that's extremely attractive through the front end, shallow up through his chest, just runs out of power when we get over the top of him, dimension of muscle over his rack, and one that doesn't tie into that hip loin juncture quite as smooth and as wide as we analyze him to the first place lamp. But I think a nice one to come in here in second. Another one that's got some structure about him, a cool look. He just runs out of gas a little bit when we get to that hip loin juncture as we compare him to our first there. Our young man's here in third. Definitely the thickest in the class from end to end. One that you can see that old rack shape jumping up in him. He's wide through his loin and big out of his hip. But when you put this guy in motion, he kind of falls apart for me a little bit. Wants to open up in that lower shoulder blade. Doesn't want to stay together as good as the two above him. But I think a good solid third here for me today. And then as we get down, we just have some different things in this class. Some of them need a little more muscle to them. Some need to be trimmed up. Let's give all these exhibitors a big round of applause.
Results for Class 2 medium wool. First place blue, Carson Noisy. Second place blue, Brooklyn Howell. Carson's from Comal 4-H. Brooklyn's from Comal 4-H. Third place blue, Luke Krippendorf, Comal 4-H. Fourth place red, Talon Lindemann, Long Creek, FFA. Fifth place white, Layla Lara, New Braunfels, FFA. Sixth place white, Tegan Wolf, Canyon, FFA. Seventh place white, Annie Titla, Canyon, FFA. While our judge sorts through this class, we'd like to thank Adam Lyra for coming out. He comes from Sam Houston State graduate, and he taught in ag for 13 years before becoming the CTE director for Splendora ISD. He's been there the last 12 years. He has two kiddos, ages 14 and 10, who enjoy showing lambs and goats. Thank you, Adam, for coming out and working with the kiddos today.
We bring your class 3 in here, the young man's weather that wins the class, kind of wins it pretty handily for me. One that you look at him, he's got his blades laid in him. He's expressive and big out of his top shape. One that goes into a wide line, big level hip, and a good lower leg. When you put him in motion, he doesn't disappoint you. He stays together. It's a young man, 165-pound sheep, which I'm going to tell you, size doesn't matter to me. A good sheep's a good sheep, but he stays together. He's true in his makeup, keeps his chest together, and impressive lamb. Young man's here in second, I think is an easy follow for our first. Another one's very expressive down his top, just not quite as fresh when you look at him, his hip loin juncture, not quite as cool from the side as we analyze him. A little rounder in that lower shoulder as we compare him to our first. I think a nice one to here come in second. Our young ladies here in third, this is just an extremely attractive sheep from the side. Real pretty, real elegant up through its front end, shallow through its chest. She just gets outpowered when we get over the top of him. Doesn't have a quite dimension of muscle and shape through its top and through that lower leg as we compare him to the ones above him, but a real attractive sheep from the side. Let's give these exhibitors a round of applause.
Results for Class 3 medium wools. First place blue, Carson Noisy, Comal 4H. Second place blue, Luke Krippendorf, Comal 4H. Third place red, Brianna Allen, Davenport FFA. Fourth place white, Mason Hallmark, Canyon Lake FFA. Fifth place white, Parker Pilata, Comal 4H. Another quick announcement to lamb exhibitors. Make sure you're getting your pictures made.
We bring our heavyweights out here. The young lady's weather that starts the class wins it pretty handily when he comes in the ring. One that's he said he weighed 176, I believe what it was, full grown. He's a big one, but when he comes in, he keeps himself together. When we put him in motion, you get over the top of him. He handles extremely well. He's smooth down his top. He's good out of his hip. He's good in that lower leg. Just a complete sheep to be standing here at this weight. Nice job, young lady. It gets a little closer placing in the next pair. The young lady's coming in here second is one that's just a little more elevated when we get him from the side as compared to our third place lamb, one that's got some dimension of muscle down that top, not quite as expressive out of that hip and lower leg as we analyze him to our first. I think he's acceptable today, and the young lady's done a good job keeping him fit for me today. Good job. Our young lady here in third, here's one that's thick, big back, big hip, big rear-ended, but one that's just getting a little more mature when you put him in motion. He wants to open up in his blades. He wants to drop in his chest floor for me today. I just like to give him a little more youthful appearance to move up in class. I think a nice group. Let's give these guys a round of applause.
Results for Class 4. First place blue, Haley Eichman, Canyon Lake FFA. Second place blue, Jillian Abrego, Canyon Lake FFA. Third place red, Miley Hallmark, Canyon Lake FFA. Fourth place red, Chloe Giesecke, Smithson Valley FFA. Fifth place white, Chloe Giesecke, Smithson Valley FFA. Sixth place white, Hannah Donovan, Davenport FFA. Seventh place white, Javier Ruiz, New Braunfels FFA. We'll now do breed champion.
I think when we bring our medium wolves out here in these four classes, they represent the breed extremely well. As we started with the lightweight one that's attractive to look at, got some muscularity in that class, probably the most show appealing sheep that we had in that lightweight class. Then we get to our class 2, and definitely the heat got turned up. And these pair, one that you like for the handle, the width, the body, one that's big out of his loin and through that hip, just a real complete sheep that we used to win that class. And we talk about the second behind him, one that patterns him well, just wasn't quite as massive down his top and through that loin as we compared him to that first one. Then we get to our class 3 here, a young man sheep, one that's just massive down his top. He's extremely wide and bold and thick in that loin edge, big and massive out of that hip, one that's got some foot to him as we talked in class, one that you like. He sticks together, stays together when you put him in motion to be the size that he is. Then we get to our young man who was second behind him. Patterns him extremely well. One that was just a tick rounder in that lower shoulder as we compared him to the one, but a solid, nice one to come here behind him. Then we get to our heavyweights here. One that is extremely balanced. One that's smooth to be as big as he is. One that handles well. One that's correctly out of his hip and loin juncture. We like that. And then we get to the second place behind him, another one that's real extended up through his front end. May not had quite as much muscle as the class winner did. But I think when you start putting all these attributes together, there's a few of them in my mind that come to the top. There's one in particular that stays together, handles extremely well. You like them in motion. You like them when they're set. Our young man's class 3 winner is going to be our champion, medium wool. Let's give him a round of applause. I think when you start to analyze for the reserve hole, it gets closer for me from our class 2 winner and our second, that class 3. I think when you put the good in them and you look at them for what they are, pound for pound, muscularity, handle, one that's probably a little trimmer over those ribs for me today, one that just out handles the other. Our second place class 3 is going to be our reserve. Let's give this young man a round of applause.
Congratulations, Carson Noisy with your breed champion medium wool, and Luke Krippendorf with your reserve champion. We'll do grand champion drive now.
Let's give these exhibitors a round of applause for a job well done. I'm not a big speech giver. I'll talk to my kids at home and try to get them motivated in whatever activity we're doing, or school kids if I see them walking the halls. But I do know this, and everybody should thank their parents, their ag teacher, their 4-H agent, the committee out here, because all the volunteer hours that they put in for these shows is tough and hard, and it's a thankless job sometimes. Sometimes you get a parent that may be upset with you, or a student that's upset with you, but it's a little thankless. You need to thank your parents and everybody for what we're able to do and how we're able to do it. One thing I love about livestock, it's competitive. It's not everybody gets a trophy event, and I'm not a give everybody a trophy type guy. We got to compete. We've got to work at it. And if we don't work hard enough at our house, we go home and redo it. And we have that conversation on the way home for a show, or if we had a bad day in the barn, we work at it a little harder after that. And that's what I love about this sport. I'm judging livestock, but you guys got to get them fit and got to get them looking the part. And you know, a lot of people say you can buy this award. You can't buy it in a sheep show. You got to be able to show it. You could buy a good animal, you can get it fit, or you can have somebody do it for you. But if you can't present it in this ring, it means nothing. And that's why I like it. It makes it a little even. For the little guy and the big guy, we're all the same as long as you do your job and come in there and get it presented. And all these exhibitors do a good job. All of them coming through here have been extremely gracious, whether they were last place or they were first place, and I appreciate that. And that's should be commended upon you parents and advisors that come out here for teaching these kids that. When we get out here and we look at them, I'm very appreciative of what I got. Again, I think there was 87, 89 head here, so not an extremely big show, but you have all 5 breed formats. In a lot of county fairs in Texas, we don't have that anymore. We just have a medium wool show or maybe 2 breeds, and I appreciate that. And y'all got quality from the down, from the fine wool, the cross, that can be competitive wherever they go. I think there's a couple, 2 or 3 out here that stand out to me. One in particular just outpowers everything, outmuscles them, got some look about them, is extremely good to the touch. The exhibitor does an extremely good job getting them ready and getting them presented. Our medium wool is going to be our champion. Let's give this young man a round of applause. I think when you come out here and you start analyzing your reserve, it gets a close placing between our reserve medium wool and we start looking at our cross. As I told y'all in the cross drive, that's a unique specimen there, one that you appreciate all the qualities that he has, that he brings into the ring. But I think when you start analyzing, comparing the two, I just think there's a little more sheep, there's a little more design, there's a little more rib, a little more structure about him. Our medium wool is going to be our reserve grand. Let's give this guy a big round of applause.
Congratulations, Carson Noisy, with your grand champion overall lamb, and Luke Krippendorf with your reserve grand champion lamb.
Let's give your junior showman a big round of applause for coming out here. As I tell any exhibitor or anyone, you don't get better by standing out there. So no matter if you win or not, coming out in the ring, you're going to get better at what you do. Some judges will like something a little different. Some don't. I believe I heard somebody out on the side of the ring stop smiling. I don't know if did I hear that correctly? I'm fine with it. I'm not a smiler, so I'm good with it. It's not about, I want you to have fun, but it's about being intense out here. Watch the judge when you come in the ring, make good eye contact, and be aware of where you're moving in the ring with maintaining that eye contact. That way you don't bunch yourself up. But we got to have intensity when we come in that ring. This is our job. Like I told our ring help here is I look at the show. We had the show first and how you exit them when it really counted. Okay. And then how you come back in here in the showmanship. And I kind of put those two together. So I don't just judge you on what you did right now, but how you did it in the show ring a minute ago. And there's an individual out here that's kind of been a little more smooth, a little more calm when they come around the ring. One that you look, they've had their sheep set at most times. They've got them firm to the touch. And the key to these sheep is we got to get some touch in them. We got to get them firm. We got to be smooth and calm and just give the judge the best look of your animal as you can and be able to hide some of the flaws that you may need to. But I think these exhibitors did a good job. Let's give them a big round of applause. I'm going to select your champion.
Lamb exhibitors, a couple more announcements. Make sure you get your picture made, that you declare
Round of applause for a job well done. As we're getting up in age, you naturally expect a little more experience, a little more calmness coming in the ring, not as aggressive in their movement and makeup. Everybody in here had plenty of eye contact and intensity about them, and it just shows when you start to move them around. Who can get that sheep set quick? Who keeps them from moving? Who keeps the sheep's plugged at all times? As I tell my kids and anybody, when we get in the champion drive or whatever it is, the judge turns and looks. He's going to look at the first one set. That's just the nature of the beast that we have. So when you can get your stop plugged and not moving, that is a good thing. When you can hide some things about your sheep that maybe the judge didn't like, or you know that there's a flaw in them, that's what makes a good showman and one that can get everything out of them. They always got, again, I preach, they got to be firm to the touch. You can't just stand there and look pretty and they're not getting firm. We got to get a drive out of them. I'm a firm believer in that. But I think all these exhibitors do a good job. There's one in particular did an excellent job in the class, and they come out here. You can tell they've worked with their lamb. The lamb stays still. They keep it firm. They keep moving around. Their intensity about them. And I'm gonna go out here and shake your hand of your champion junior or intermediate showman, and then we'll find our reserve showman after that.
Congratulations, Livy Krippendorf, your showman champion for the intermediate, and Chloe Giesekeep with your reserve champion showman. Moving on up to the seniors.
Let's give all these exhibitors a round of applause. What a good sign that you get this many seniors to come in here and come back for showmanship and get better. We sorted some out that did a good job in show. You came in, you had that intensity about you. The first handle, you had them firm to the touch, and that's what's going to get you to the sail holes. I had to we got so many, so I had to sort some. I did peel a couple out extra here. I think you two young ladies do an exceptional job. I think as a group, you two are come to the top for me. You're smooth about what you do. You're very intense. I mean, if y'all had a bullet, y'all'd shoot me right now. But I appreciate that. But you're also aware of what your sheep's doing, where I'm at in the ring. One thing I will critique both of y'all: slow down just a tick. When I'm moving around, you're just messing with you. Slow down. Another thing, for me, a pet peeve, I'm not a guy that likes bending over when we're walking them or we're setting them up. Stand up, relax, look a little more natural. Don't take away from the sheep by me studying what you're doing. But I think y'all do an excellent job. I think you two young ladies, and I'm truly honest here, I haven't decided what I'm going to do here, but I think you two do a good job, and we're going to kind of work y'all a little longer, then we're going to pick a champion and reserve champion. How about that? And I want to thank everybody before we do that, again, to the committee for y'all inviting me to judge the fair. It's always an honor, whether you're judging a county fair, you get asked to judge a major stock show in state, out of state. It's always a privilege, but it's always nice to come back and just do our local fairs and work with the young exhibitors here in Texas. Let's give everybody a big round of applause. I think when we talked earlier, and we said it earlier, when we get down to the end and we're trying to pick a champion, who can get them plugged first? And that's what just separates y'all two. Young lady on my left is going to be our champion. Young lady on our right is going to be reserved. Not to take away from either one of these, y'all do an exceptional job. Good job.
All right, congratulations, Shelby Leonard, champion senior showman, and Haley Eichman, reserve champion senior showman. We'll bring in our 3 champion at all the age levels, junior, intermediate, and senior, for the rights to have their name put on the Fred Plow Memorial Showmanship Award for lambs.
Thank you. Yeah.
Goddamn, it's time this old man go to the house and take him out. You have a good one, man. You too. Good to see you. Yeah. Don't worry, they're probably already. Still hurting. Be good, man. Thank you. See ya.
Let's give these three exhibitors a big round of applause for coming out here and picking your overall champion. I believe a traveling trophy, a big traveling trophy. I think all three of y'all exhibitors do an exceptional job. There's just one individual out here that's just extremely smooth around their sheep. They keep them set at all times. They just got a little more time in this show ring than some of you others. Our senior is going to be our champion overall. Let's give her a round of applause.
Congratulations, Shelby Leonard, overall showman. Her name will be engraved on a little plaque that goes on that trophy on the Fred Plow Memorial. Congratulations, Shelby.